Now let's cover cold emergencies. In this situation, we had two children possibly lost for a while or played outside in bad conditions without enough warming and insulation in their clothing, and they started to feel the effects of hypothermia. You know, hypothermia begins when they start shivering. And once the body drops below 95 degrees Fahrenheit at the core temp, serious side effects begin to take effect. Dizziness, delirium, confusion, the shivering begins to stop. They become lethargic, weak, and then lose consciousness. Now, the treatment for hypothermia is that we need to insulate their body as best we can while we wait for EMS to arrive, or remove them from the environment into a permanent warming area. If we're out in the field like this, obviously we need to get help to come to us. We're going to have to help protect them while we're here. And the way we do that, a really good way, is to have a waterproof blanket made out of mylar. These are very common in first aid kits, and I would strongly encourage you to have them whenever you have a first aid kit or an emergency kit that you have in your vehicle or with your rescue bag. These mylar blankets are really designed to help reflect the heat of the patient. They're normally large enough that they would certainly be okay for a child and big enough for most adults. But our whole goal here is to actually have the patient roll towards us, being extremely gentle with the child. If they have frozen parts, frostbitten parts, we don't want to agitate those parts any more than we have to, as we could give crystals in their bloodstream, make those kind of move, and it could actually put them in cardiac arrest. So we want to be careful about that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just untucking part of the blanket and tucking the other half underneath the patient's body. What we're going to do is we're going to roll the patient then back onto this mylar blanket. I'm going to roll you over a little bit. We're going to get you help here, honey, in just a little bit. I know you're super cold. Untuck the blanket on my side, and now they can lay on their back as we pull the rest of this blanket up and around them, insulating their body. Go ahead and straighten your legs out, honey. I know it's super cold. As we wrap this all the way around, we're going to try to seal it around their feet as best we can, up under their chin, but you can't breathe through this stuff, so it's going to be vitally important you leave room for them to be able to breathe. You don't cover their face. Now I'm going to take another blanket and I'm going to cover their body the rest of the way, over their feet and as far up as we can, tucking it all around underneath them as best we can, and then waiting for EMS to arrive. You might notice that we have this little extra around their head. I might even tuck it around like that. Remember, we lose an immense amount of heat through our scalp and through our head. We want to try to insulate that and keep them from losing any more heat than they already have. This is how we're going to maintain this person that's in hypothermia until EMS or help arrives. But we're also going to monitor for airway, breathing, and circulation. If they stop breathing and go unconscious, we're going to go straight into CPR until help arrives for as long as we possibly can. Remember, it's important to protect ourselves as well, the rescuer. I'm kneeling in cold snow. It's lowering my body temperature. I might need to take my gloves off for dexterity, so it'll be easy for my fingertips to start getting frost nip or frost bite. So remember, seeing safety for you as well. Now, let's talk about the next piece, and that is frost nip, frost bite, and how we recognize it and then how we treat it. Out here in the field, we're not going to be rewarming any frozen parts. Frostbite is indicated by fully frozen hard ends of their fingers, nose, cheeks, ears, toes, feet, hands. Those are the most common parts to freeze first. They're going to be hard, they're going to be white, and they're not going to have much feeling. If we have a person that's still able to walk but they have frozen parts, especially the feet, we're going to try to walk them to permanent safety for as long as we can while their feet are frozen. We don't want to take the time to rewarm if there's a chance that they're going to refreeze again. We don't want to reheat or rewarm any frozen parts of the body with water hotter than 105 degrees. That's the maximum temperature before we then get into burns. And in my preference, it might even be a little cooler than that, as that type of temperature can be extremely painful once the nerve endings come back and they can start feeling again. All rewarming attempts is extremely painful, and so we sometimes will want, if at all possible, in advanced settings, for some form of analgesia to be applied through the rewarming, but not to the point where we suppress their ability to breathe on their own. It's going to be important that we maintain this body temperature rewarming, keeping their core temperature as high as we can until help arrives and we can get them to permanent help where we can fully rewarm them and save their life.